trust, guide us, tell us which way to go. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Thank you. Okay. Approved minutes from previous meeting. Has everybody looked over that? Is there any corrections to be made?
None.
Entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve minutes. From previous meeting.
Second motion.
All in favor? Motion carries. Open forum. Has anybody signed in to address the board, or would anybody like to address the board? Okay, moving forward. Approved budget for the fiscal year 2011-2012. This is an action item. David, have you received any further questions for the budget?
No, I haven't, but I would like to make a statement.
Go ahead.
Before we go on. This past Monday, the President of the United States gave a speech on living within the means and investing in the future. It addressed a lot of budget items. One of those budget items is health services. In the health services, what he indicated was for a $6 billion cut over 10 years to rural hospitals. Claiming that the proposal eliminates higher than necessary reimbursement. Now, after the President's proposal to cut billions in Medicare reimbursements hits the facilities, over half of the critical access hospitals will lose money, since devastating cuts will cause the rural hospital doors to close, resulting in loss of access to health care and needed rural jobs. I only say that because this has not been approved. They have not passed this. This was his proposal. They may or they may not cut all of it, part of it, or maybe none of it. We do have our lobbyists there. I have called Washington, as I said before, myself, and I told them that this would be devastating to the rural health area, the hospital as well as the clinics. And I guess we'll have to see, but I just wanted it on record that at least we had, stated this in the board meeting. I'm not asking you to do anything different. As I said before, we're willing to pass the budget with the raises in it, and then we'll proceed from there. The only thing that I might ask you to do is you approve the budget, that you consider allowing, and I don't know exactly how to word this, allowing the administration to possibly hold off on handing those raises out to January 1. That will give us enough time to see what's going to play out with the government, because these could hurt us. Now, can we give the raises October 1st and take them back January 1? I suppose we can. I don't know which way that would be more detrimental to the employees, but I am concerned, as I have said from the very beginning, about the potential cuts that the government may be handing down. We have already seen this many times already, since even the last board meeting. In fact, if you will allow me, Legal Ann, who handles the billing, sees this come in and out all the time. And if for just a minute, not for a long speech or anything, can you add anything? Can you add anything to what you've seen over the past 30 days or so with specifically Medicaid now?
I know that we all see all the time that perhaps there's going to be cuts, and sometimes that takes place and sometimes it doesn't, but it has with our Medicaid. We have a 40% reduction in the ER unless the person is in a life-threatening situation. I received the first explanation of benefits and payment from Medicaid this week with all those cuts. And they were 40%, and it was 40% cut if you came in with a sore throat, pharyngitis, vomiting. If you came in with a burst eardrum, unless you're having a heart attack or a stroke or something like that, you get a 40% cut. I ran reports for 2009 and for 2010 and how much we received from Medicaid in each of those years. If we continue to see the same amount of people It will cut us by about $80,000 a year, is what our cuts will be with a 40%. And it states, I can show you in my office, this is due to the budget restrictions. And that's under every payment that we have on each individual patient. It tells us why we received that much less money for this last time. We should have received about $10,000. We received $4,000 on the one that came in, and they pay us weekly. So we know that those are occurring. You know, these that David we're talking about, they're pending, but this has happened. So.
Well, I know that in one board meeting, in one of these days, I'll try to find it, that we discussed, and I don't know if it was made a policy or not, we're gonna have to go back and find out, that only life-threatening, I don't know how we worded it, but ER was only to be used, it's not to be used by people that really didn't need it, that they could go to the clinic. So that was when Mason was here. I don't know if anybody else remembers.
And I guess you'd say that they certainly try to do that, but we do not have doctors on call. So whether or not the nurse would feel comfortable, most certainly if somebody came and said my throat's hurt or something, they may be comfortable in making that call.
So this is when doctors' clinics are not open?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's not when we're seeking reduction only. I'm just saying, in a case like that, well, certainly if they came in during the day, they try to screen those. They don't try to just take it in the ER. Most of the time, we don't have ER problems during the day.
Oh,
They wait till after hours on the weekends because they know. So that's where we're at. But this is, all this is just so that the board is fully informed of the situation happening again. We're going to try our best, and I'm not going to try to steal Vicky's thunder by any means, but and I know that you don't really want to go into this. I just want to make sure we're clear on page 41 of your books. Now this goes up through August, what we're looking at. If you look at, actually, the first column is writing, so the second, third, fourth column is what we've done this year. You can see patient revenue is at $12,592,000. Out of that, we've had the deduction from the revenue of about $5 million, so you can see we've got about $7,545,000. That's where we are right now. And if you look at then the other revenue, now of course it fluctuates quite a bit, so it's not going to necessarily always be the same thing every year by any means. But total operating revenues is about $8,151,000. Our expenses, if you drop down the lower total operating expenses, about $8,047,000. So we're running about the same way we've been for several years. What pulls us over is, of course, the tax money, which we're going to continue to receive. That's actually what we're going to approve tonight, is the budget as well as the tax rate. And so we're showing right now a gain, hospital-wise, of about $468,000. But we have some unusual circumstances this year that would make that increase. That's not cash money we actually have in our pockets. That's just the profit and loss, and it's not necessarily all cash. And I just wanted to point that out to you. Again, I just want you to be informed as you approve the budget. Do you have a specific question? Because what I'm going to ask you to do right now is to approve the budget we've been looking at, and the proposed budget for total revenue for the hospital is $9,223,603.65. Total expense for the hospital is $9,095,639.69. That will give a surplus of $127,963.96. That's the budget we've been looking at for the hospital. That's what you are fixing to approve. That does have salary increases in it. For the nursing home, you're looking at total revenue, and this was handed out at the last meeting. Total revenue of 104,604.21, with total expenses of $3,103,969.68, surplus of $634.54. That is the budget that you're looking at to approve at this time. And I would ask that you do that with the consideration of revenue expenditure.
David, I personally would like to certainly approve the budget and immediately hand out the raises. Have you run any scenarios, or what is your best guess as to if this Obama plan passes, where we would stand? To me, it sounds like we could even stand as our employment rates are now, we could be in trouble.
This is true. This is true. This is why I read what I did from the president's speech, that there is a potential of loss. And in fact, the forum that is lobbying for us says that critical access hospitals, if they pass all of this, now there's other things, if you haven't gotten it, I'll be glad to make you a copy of it. I'm sure you can get the president's speech anywhere. He's actually calling for critical access hospitals to be eliminated completely if you have another hospital within 10 miles, which that does not pertain to us. But they're also eliminating, because we get 101% reimbursement Medicare right now, critical access hospitals. They're going to lower that, if they approve it, to 100%. So there are cuts out there that would potentially stand to take. There's no way to know what's going to happen. That's see what Congress does. One thing we can agree on is the government is in trouble. We're broke. And they're going to try to take the entitlements away as much as they can. And this is not necessarily a Democratic or a Republican strategy. In fact, Republicans are calling for more entitlement cuts than Democrats are. So I don't know that there's any safe harbor we can be handed out right now. Yes, most certainly, even where we stand, we could be hurt. This is a true statement. And in that case, and I'm not trying to paint a picture of doom and gloom. I'm trying to make everybody informed. I don't want to get down the road and say, oh, whoa, we didn't know that. That's what I'm trying to do. So I've been in entities before where everybody in the entity had to take a 10% cut in salary. I've been in entities before where we had across the board layoffs in every department. This has happened in prior years. We could be faced with that. I'm not saying we are going to be faced with that, but there are strategies to handle situations if it comes down. My goal, as well as Heather's and Leland and every department head, will be to strive to keep the revenue flow, keep the money flow coming in, so that we can continue our status quo, and with the budget being increased, to try to increase that stream. And do I believe they're going to cut critical access hospitals completely? No, because they know that we are vital to the rural communities. Will they cut us some? Yes, I believe we're going to see some cuts. We already have. But we just have to tighten our belts and try to see where we can conserve and going down the road. Now, with that being said, just so we're all aware that we could hit a potential bump in the road, whether you hand the raises out October 1st or whether you hand them out January 1st, we could hit a potential bump, which at that time we will address. We will not keep it a secret. Every employee will know that we did this bump and this is what we're going to have to do. Just so everybody's on the same page and nobody's shocked if this happens. Everybody can turn on the news tonight. Everybody can read the paper. Everybody ought to know that there are these potential hazards out there for everybody. We just happen to be in the critical access aspect, because he covered a whole lot more than just health issues in his budget.
By waiting until January, it will sort of give us a buffer. Give us, if we wait till January, if we make a motion, we decide to wait till January, then that can give us, can we do this with the stipulation to wait till January and see how things go, and then there we can continue with the rate, or we can do raises, or?
Well, you can approve the budget with the raises in there, and that really has nothing to do with when the raises are given.
Okay, it's just.
In most cases, what we work on is salary increases both for cost of living as well as merit. And in most cases, that's the way corporate activities would work. And then in some cases, you have a cost of living, which would be across the board. We're not privileged enough to have two separate types of raises. The merit raises would depend on those individuals with the performance evaluations agreeing that they should receive those. Now, that being said, Shannon and I have discussed this quite a bit, and we feel that though raises have not been handed out, there in fact could be some of those people who have not performed their duties that might not deserve a raise. And we hate to necessarily give those raises to those people that are not performing. And I do fully agree with that. But that's an administrative management decision, which needs to be handed over to that process where Shannon monitors those people at the nursing home, and I monitor those people here who may or may not deserve it. It's kind of a shame to give someone a raise that does not deserve it. And hopefully everybody is working their hardest. I'm certainly not going to say that I believe someone is or is not. I think that's why you have to have a one-on-one. Shannon's decision totally for whoever she oversees, it would be for me who I oversee. Would it be for the department heads to oversee that in each department? A conversation I've had within the last few weeks with people. As a department head, you have the right to make the call whether someone is performing their duties or not. If they're not performing their duties, then they will be released because it's not happening, you know. And that's why we have department heads. They have to make that call. Shannon can't be around, and I can't be around every department to see if everybody's working all the time. That's why we have department heads. And at any rate, that being said, I would like, and of course we can hand out the raises October 1st. Still would like that stipulation that not necessarily everybody, I don't think we can sit here and say everybody deserves a raise, because if they're not doing their job, not performing their duties, then you should not reward them. That kind of throws you into another tailspin outside of what we're even talking about.
David, any word on how the torch hearings went last week?
I have not heard anything back. The torch hearings, again, that's part of the process of finding any of these cuts, because they're talking about it everywhere, but they have not come back and said, well, and they probably didn't make a decision, they just probably listened, but have not heard anything back from them.
So I'd like to open discussion of the board with our budget regarding our raises. I personally feel that it needs to be approved and that the raises need to be handed out immediately. Our employees work hard for us. I think if the time comes to make cuts, we can do so, whether it's in layoffs or pay adjustments. Bill?
Chad, you also are aware that in February, we'll make our last payments on those notes that we had to make.
Yes, sir.
And that's going to free up a lot of money. So that's a good thing we're going to do. Plus, we've got the roof on, we've got the air conditioning, I guess it's good. That's paid for. So I don't know what else to trade around here. I'm sure there is something, but right now we can't see it. So we've got through some big hurdles. In February, we're going to get over this other hurdle, and it's going to free up some funds, and our business is looking good, according to the paper, what I'm reading here. And so I agree with you, and I'd go ahead and make a motion, we adopt this budget and begin the raises in October.
Other discussions?
I would like to ask, I think David's already talked, but Shannon, do you feel like there's a possibility of some people not meriting a raise in Part B? Put you on the spot.
When I first came here and I saw what they were making an hour, and they could go to McDonald's and make the same wage. Of course, they work really, really hard. The nursing department does. They work super hard, and their job is one of the hardest jobs ever. I mean, I was a home health aide when I was in college for 5 years, and that job is hard, and what they do is harder than a home health aide. And I understand that. And they need more money for what they do, okay? And I believe that. I really, really do, okay? But, and I will say this, everyone in the nursing home and hospital, I think, deserves a raise. It's been a long time and we've got some really hard workers. But there's also a thing about, we have residents that live there and that's their home. And there's people that take enormously awesome care of those residents. And I'm so happy about that. But then we have people that don't because they feel like they're not making enough money and they're waiting for their raise. And they have that attitude. And there's a whole lack of care that I'm fighting against. And it's every day. Okay? And no, they don't deserve that raise. And it should be based on merit. When I have to go every day and fight for those residents to get the care that they need, no, they don't deserve that raise until they do their job. And that's plain and simple. And that, I'm talking for the residents.
Shannon, I think since you brought it up, I'd kind of like to get this out in the open, especially for the public's sake. I personally have talked to, at minimum, a dozen people in the last few weeks, some disgruntled employees, and I know that we're trying to make changes. I want those residents to be loved for like it was their own mother and their father. And I think we've seen a lack of that. I hear good things about certain people. And it seems that my assessment is that maybe we're going to have to dig a little bit deeper until we get that right mentality changed. Shannon, what could you comment on that?
What do you want me to comment on that? I've told you a lot of things. I mean, what do you want me to comment on?
Your feelings on, are we going to have to let some more people go until we get the right care that those residents deserve?
I think that, you know, I spend Saturday and Sunday nights with families that call me that are crying, you know, and they're not sure that they want to leave their loved ones there. And it's basic things, like water that's 3 days old that's foaming. Okay, it's beds that aren't made, diapers that aren't changed for 6 or 7 hours at a time. Okay, or a resident that his face is in his food for an hour and a half. Okay, and some of these, we have nurses like Mary Ann sitting out here, and I just want to point out to Mary Ann, she's a wonderful, wonderful nurse. Very kind, very caring. In fact, she's one of my trainers. Okay, and I adore her.
Thank you.
But we have nurses like Mary Ann that are wonderful and educated, okay? But we have CNAs and we have nurses that, you know, when supervisors are gone, they like to sit up at the nurse's station and eat food, and you know, they don't make beds till 6 o'clock at night if they ever do make beds, and they don't do the charting, and they don't do the documentation, and they don't count the narcotics, and they're upset because I want everybody in the dining room helping feed the residents, and they don't get to pass minutes in the dining room anymore. Well, that's against federal law. Do you know what I mean? And now they're complaining that, you know, I'm mean because I won't want them to pass minutes in the dining room. You know what I mean? Things have got to change. You know, we need to change for the residents. And it's been an uphill battle, and I'm not going anywhere. And I know a lot of staff members are going to other people saying, when is she going to go home? You know, so, but that just makes me want to stay for those poor residents. And they're not being abused at my nursing home. We're taking care of it day by day by day. And we're getting, I know an RN came in today and she said, you know, I want to come work for you guys again. I used to work there and I quit because I didn't want to lose my license, but I'd love to come start again. You know, so we're getting more people coming to work for us again. But it's gonna take time, and it's gonna take everybody's support, and, the board has been nothing but good and supportive towards me and David, and I just love you guys for that. But, yeah, there's a lot of talk, and there's, you know, we just need your support, and your help, and we might need new people, I don't know.
Well, we're in it for the long haul.
Yeah, we
And,
are.
you know, I'd like to be able to put my mother in there without a worry, you know?
And
She
you
might
need
shoot me
to.
for saying that, but
She's there
Make sure you get that in the paper, Larry, because mom is going in there very soon. But, you know, it's a good place. It's beautiful, it's clean, the dietary is wonderful, the housekeeping is wonderful. We've got some good nurses. It's just, we need to do things the right way. And we need to be consistent, and we need to be faithful to what we're doing.
how is this CNA program coming along?
Actually, I talked to them today. I talked to the dad's program today, and the first $5,000 was kind of a waste. The previous supervisors didn't make them sign the contracts, I found out. They don't want to sign the contracts to stay with us. So I called dads today, talked to them, and they're allowing Donna, since she's not from here, and since she's not employed by us, to be our program director. So I didn't get a chance to tell you that. So she can be our program director in our facility and we can now do our clinicals in-house. So that's awesome. So we don't have to do clinicals outside, we don't have to go to Denver City or anywhere else. So when we train our CNAs, we can do it in-house now. So that's a really good thing.
We trained 5, and they're not coming to work for us?
Well, we have 3 of them. There's a couple of them that won't pay us back because they didn't sign a contract with our previous DLM like they were supposed to. So, but we do now get to do clinicals in-house. Now I got that permission today. So that's a good thing. They like that Donna's not employed with us, so that's.
Well, I would like to say that if we do decide on doing raises, that we agree with what David said, that we give them the stipulation to give raises on merit, rather than across the board.
Yes.
Or we give them giving them the their hands to do it.
You know, that's kind of the way it is in any real world situation, you know, you always want to reward the folks that are doing a good job. And that kind of makes the other guys that are lagging behind work harder. Thank you, Shannon.
I think that's gonna cost an employee disgruntlement, or I don't know what the word, but I sure think they could open up a pretty good can of worms, because you're gonna look across the street or across the room and say, well, she got a raise and I didn't.
Because of merit?
But they can work for it. They have to work for it. I want them to know that it's there if they want to work for it.
They haven't had one in 3 years though, so.
But if they're not working for it, they're not doing it.
They're not doing anything for it. They're leaving, they left a woman, they're not working for it, I promise you.
And then they need to be cut.
And I think that's the problem, is if we cut many more, we're gonna be seriously lacking on our care that we're giving our residents. And it's kind of an opportunity to say, hey, look, here's your raise, you know, we need you to dig in.
And if they get through this run, well, they'll just have to go down the road and we'll have to find somebody. Because if they're not doing the job, we gotta do something. Because they put the work on the rest of the staff. Besides, they're just not doing their job.
Any other discussion? Bill, would you restate your motion?
I make a motion to approve the presented 2011-2012 budget and adopt it as submitted.
Do you want to give the administration the ability to withhold certain raises from certain people.
That's an administrative decision, doesn't have anything to do with the budget.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? The motion carries. We adopt the 2011-2012 fiscal budget.
And we will do our best to make it work.
Yes.
Okay. Approved tax rate for fiscal year 2011-2012. We've had a couple of public hearings. We didn't seem to get any feedback there. Anything to add?
You will need to approve this in 2 motions.
Okay.
The first motion will be for what they call M&Os, maintenance and operation, for the entity, which will equal out to .3332 cents for maintenance and operations for the entity. The second motion will have to be for debt service, which equals out to .0668. The total being 40 cents. But it has to be done in two motions.
Is there any discussion before this is approved? The tax rate?
Same rate as last year, correct?
40 cents.
Okay. David, would you please restate the first motion?
Okay. You need to make a motion for maintenance and operation for the hospital district to be set at .3332.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the maintenance and operation tax rate at .3332.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries.
Now a motion needs to be made to adopt the debt service, which is for the bonds for the nursing home at .0668.
I'll make a motion to leave.
You can't even write it down.
6668, right?
.0668.
She got me confused when she was.
Second.
All those in favor? The motion carries.
And that does set it at a 40-cent tax rate.
Okay. All right, next we have financial and statistical reports and bad debt write-off.
Page 18 is our combined balance sheet, the hospital district. The cash on that is down about $130,000 over last year. It's including $322,000 for the hospital and $182,000 for the Parkview. On page 21 is our balance sheet showing our current assets for the hospital itself and current liabilities. Net accounts receivable have decreased by $98,000, and our accounts payable have decreased by $62,000. Page 25 through 28 are the checks that were written for the hospital district, totaling $511,926. Page 42, and that's the profit and loss that David was talking about earlier. We've got an operating loss for the current month, but we still have, the year-to-date is still a gain of $468,000. On page 54 is the balance sheet for Parkview. It has net accounts receivable of a decrease of $98,000 over last month, and accounts payable have increased by $32,000. And on page 58 and 59 are the checks that were written for $117,792. And on page 60 is the profit and loss, and again, it's net loss for the month. And we still have a gain for the year of $77,701. Any questions?
Any questions?
I'll make another statement. This is Ms. Gibson's statement. Page 18. We have one more month. This is August. We'll have September to go through. What we're trying to strive for is to get that removal of the going concern from the audit. That was based upon our debt ratio, but when you take a look at it, it really is about your accounts payable. They said it was too high last year, and I certainly agree. But it has gone down to, and we're looking at entity-wide now, this is not just, because that's the way the audit's done, entity-wide. 666,465.58 down from 1,321,484.41. So we've made quite a dent in trying to bring that accounts payable down. Hopefully that will lead us to being able to get that removed. I guess we will wait and see. I don't want to lead anybody without saying that, but I just want to call that to your attention that it looks like we're doing pretty good toward making that improvement. That's all I want to add.
One question, I noticed this, on this statement that we do not have the accounts payable due to from Parkview. You just cleared that out?
No, on this one, because it's entity-wide, one of them was a positive, one was a negative. So if you looked at this same sheet for the entities, you would see that.
All right, for the district, okay.
Yeah, this just singles itself out on that, but it's between the two.
Okay. Good.
Anything else? Okay, moving on, administrative reports.
Donna and I are just working on policy and procedure book, and once we have one done for the whole facility, we'll have you guys look at it, approve it before we get it bound and copied. We don't need one.
Okay,
Don't have some, didn't find one.
No, but we'll get one. The one we did find was like 13 years old, so we'll get one new. So we're doing that right now. Okay.
David?
Just want to try to tie a loose end up here. If you have not been down to the nurse's station lately, they're almost through. I think they're going to finish up this week. We should have the tile back up. The nurse's station has been completely redone. It looks pretty nice. If you haven't had a chance, walk down there and take a look at it. That was a result of a grant we received for $50,000. With that grant, we put the carpet in the hall here. We redid the floor in lab. We put new carpet in front of the swing beds, and we put new carpet in the outpatient clinic. And then we completely rebuilt the nurse's station. So please go down and take a look at it. It looks very good. But that was the $50,000 grant. It needed to be completed by September, so we're in there. The next thing is we're working on a new grant for a little over $200,000 to, we haven't gotten it yet, but we're working on it. Hopefully we'll be able to see that. I think we'll know about that in the next 30 to 60 days. It will allow us to hopefully get some newer equipment and continue with our renovation with the rooms and so forth and so on. We'll keep you posted on that. We continue to work on the AC. It's cool. We continue to have problems here or there, but all in all, well, that is one of the things. It's been cold rather than hot, but that's part of trying to get everything fine-tuned, and we're getting there. Otherwise, we're holding our own, getting ready. This is our last month of the year. Next Friday, last day, and we'll start preparing ourselves closing out the year, getting ready for the auditors that will be here probably sometime in latter November, 1st of December. So we've made it through another year. Years are passing fast. Go on.
Has anybody heard any more about the rural health clinic grant? Have you heard from?
No, ma'am, I haven't heard a word.
Well, they continually write me, and I inform them that it doesn't look like we're going to be able to. Since you asked, I will tell you. I wrote them and said, it doesn't look like we're going to get the rest of the money. So what do you suggest? They said, we suggest you change the scope of your request for equipment and renovation. I said, we will do it.
Oh, okay.
That's the grant we're working on right now. So we may salvage for $235,000 to be used on something else, because they don't want to take that. They want us to use it. So that, but we have to jump through a few hoops. It's not like we're just gonna hand it over to you. So we're working on gathering our information up, sending it to them, more than likely, as long as, and I think they'll work with us. And that's why I said I firmly believe in the next 36 days, there's a good chance we're gonna get that. Because we tried to do that, but they didn't want it.
You think you can get that MRI machine?
Well, I don't know that we would do that right now. MRI machine is gonna cost about $500,000. That's, like, in the budget, it approved, that's on out, and we would like to get that. I think it would be a revenue earner, but I think you guys probably know this, our rooms are pretty saturated. And so we need to get something that looks a little better, so we can get those complaints cut down in the showers, and just the looks of the rooms. And I would hate to take that, and there's a piece of other equipment here and there that we probably need. MRI would be really nice and probably could be a revenue generator. Right now, I think it's best bet to keep the MRI truck coming out once a week and paying, you know, trying to get that done. But that is on our list. We're gonna try to get that MRI machine, as long as we don't receive too many punches in the face from the present administration. I think we're gonna see that in the next few years.
Tomorrow is our tailgating party, our football tailgating party, 6 o'clock, hot dogs, hamburgers, bring salads and desserts, and if you want to, it'll be fun, yay, come, okay. All right, so.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
You said Donna is not employed,
She's contracted with us.
contracted through,
She's contracted with us through a pool agency. So she's not really employed by the hospital, which is a good thing. Because she can't be employed by the district if we want clinicals to be done here.
but she is designated as your director of nursing.
Yes, yes. But we're really lucky that she doesn't actually, she's not employed by us. Otherwise, we couldn't do clinicals here.
Now, she's not employed by us at the present time. There is always potential, if we like her, she likes us, that we could take her on full time. That has not been decided. We entered into a contract with her to fill in until we had time to do a search, see if we could find someone. And I have spoken with her, as Shanna has too, and she has shown some interest, but there has not been an agreement, but it sounds like that's good at this
Well,
point.
she does want to maybe do an agreement, but we could do it where she still stays with the pool.
Okay.
And so we can still have our CNAs. So,
Zoning back to the comment about the rural healthcare clinic, about 3 weeks ago I was contacted by a guy named Dale Rice. He'd actually talked to Scott Brown about some things, and he is a federal grant writer. I think it's something that the board should entertain down the road once we get through our budget, but at a much larger grant, something that would nearly cover the complete cost of this. Preliminary, he charges $3,100. VMS is looking at him currently for some ambulance and a building grant. I like the guy. I'd like you guys to meet him. It's a deal that you put out the $3,100 and he doesn't quit. He keeps riding if it takes 2 or 3 years until he finds something that works for us. So I think down the road it'd be a good idea for us to hear what he has to say.
I think you need to put that on a future agenda.
We will. Sounds good. Hey, Scott?
What's your census, President?
I think it's 42, and then we have one person that the social worker said that maybe is coming in, so.
Entertain a motion to adjourn to executive.
And finally, we adjourn to the executive.
Second.
All in favor? Motion carried. Steve, just the board. Okay, there's no action regarding executive session. Entertain a motion to,
Vote we adjourn.
well, actually, I need one.
Meeting back up.
We gotta move back into open.
We got to move back over.
Whoa, hey.
And then you can hit your adjourn motion.
Make a motion, we move back over. Pleasure.
Second.
All in favor?
Huh?
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Second.